You are awesome. You came back and you're ready to have some fun. So the first thing I want to talk about in this intro lesson is a bit about Sublime Text 2, which is our text editor. As you can see, I've got a bunch of stuff here on the left. These are a bunch of folders with all the arrows, and you can see I'm in like a lessons directory, and we already went through this core 01 thing, and now we're on variables. And so we've got some sub-lessons here, and of course this one is the numbers sub-lesson. If you want to do this for yourself, go ahead and hit File here, and you're going to want to do Open Folder. And if you select a folder, like I just selected the Lessons folder that I had, it will be able to open it up like this. Now what you can do is go to Project, and you say Save Project As, and this will let you save this environment. So every time you start up Sublime, it will you'll be able to open up just this project, and it will be just the way you left it. So let's create a file here just to show you an example. So I've got a new file. I need to save it first. So let's call this one numbers.php. A couple of things now. You notice that the file name changed to numbers.php. It's up here in the open files list, and so this list of open files always corresponds to the tabs up here. And then it also appeared under this numbers directory. And finally, since I saved it as a PHP file, Sublime noticed that, and it put PHP down here. Now if we click that, you'll see this long list of different languages. Since we're in PHP, we want to make sure there's a check there, and that way Sublime knows how to highlight everything to make it easier to read. Now, like I said, I want to show you the power of this project, so I'm going to type something here. Now, you might have noticed when I typed that, this little icon here changed from an X to a dot. And the same thing over here, that changed from nothing to a dot. And that means that the file is currently changed. The changes are not saved. So if I go ahead and save that, Control S, you'll see that the icon changes back. And then when I edited it again, of course, it goes back to the modified indicator. Now, the really cool thing I like about Sublime is when I click this X up here, I'm closing the Sublime editor completely, but it's not going to ask me if I want to save the file. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's an easy way to lose your work, but no. I'm going to go ahead and open up Sublime again, and I'm right where I left off, and this file is still in the modified state. So even if you forget to save and you just restart your computer or you close this or what have you, Sublime will automatically remember exactly where you were and bring up all of your previous stuff. Okay, so now that we have this file, we're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and save this blank file, and I'm going to go back to our browser here. Now you'll see I've got these sub-lessons, and we're of course on the numbers sub-lesson, so I'll click that. And you'll see this numbers.php appear there, so I'll click that. And as you might expect, we have a blank page because we've got a blank file. There's nothing to do. Now, one of the important things you need to know is that PHP does absolutely nothing unless you use these open and close tags. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to put some text here. Hello PHP. I'm going to put some text here. And now PHP doesn't see that at all. Instead, what happens is it gets output directly to the browser. So I'm going to go switch back over here. First I need to, I saved the file, and I'm going to refresh that, and you'll see this hello PHP, but you did not see any of this. That's because everything inside these tags is considered PHP, while everything outside of the tags is output as plain text. Now, one thing you might see me do a lot is do a right click and then say View Page Source. And this way you can see exactly what is being output, whether it's HTML or anything else that might get rendered differently in the browser. And to show you an example of that, let's make this bold, just a simple B tag, and save that again. This shows up as a bold hello PHP, but if we do View Page Source, this is everything that is actually output. And as you can see, I still have the B tags here, but I don't have the PHP open and close tags. That's because PHP removes those from the output. before the open tag, everything is just plain text, and so it does not get removed. So we have the close tag here, and let's output something more. Goodbye PHP, and I will save that and go back here, and you'll see both of the hello and goodbye are there, but everything in between got removed. Okay, so now let's get into the meat of this lesson, which is numbers. Now, numbers are very easy. I just want to introduce one thing real quick, the echo statement. Echo just means print this out to the screen. And print doesn't mean, go work with your printer. It means show something on the screen. It means give an output. So these would be outputs here. The bold tags, the hello PHP, and the goodbye PHP, that's outputted strings. We want to output a number, so I'm just going to say echo 5. Now, before I can run this, I just need to put a semicolon there, and that means, okay, that's one statement. That's a statement in PHP. Don't worry about that so much for now. After almost every line in the beginning here, we're going to have a semicolon after it. So we'll get into that semicolon more later, but just remember it's there for now. So I'm going to save that, and I will hit F5, and there we go. It shows that 5. It doesn't show echo 5. It doesn't show the semicolon. It just shows the 5. Echo means print this out. So let's do a couple more echo statements. Let's say echo 2. Now what's going to happen here? We said print out a 5 and then print out a 2. Now this says 52, and that's because PHP did exactly what it told us, what we told it to do. We did not tell it to print a new line in between the 5 and the 2. We just said print a 5 and then print a 2, and that's what it did. So we'll get into how to put new lines into our output in the next lesson. But let's just change this for now. So we can do decimals. So let's put, like 3.14 for pi, and you'll see that works just fine. We can even do some math expressions. So let's say like 5 plus 5. And there we get 10. We could say something like 5 minus 10, and this just shows you PHP knows about negative numbers, so we got a -5 there. And we can do multiplication, so 5 times -3, and of course we will get -15. And we can do division, so let's do -10 divided by 0.5, okay? And we get -20. If you want to do order of operations, that's going to be fine in PHP. Just know you can use parentheses to override it. So let's do 2 plus 5 times 3. Now, if you use correct order of operations, this does 3 times 5, which is 15, and then plus 2 is 17, and that's what we get. But if we wanted to say do this first, we could put it in parentheses, and now that'll do 7 times 3, which is 21, and we'll get a different answer there. Alright, now just before we get to this last part of the video, I'm going to get rid of the hello and goodbye statements. So there's 2 additional values we can put here that are not numbers, and those are true and false. So if I just say true here, PHP likes to print that out as just a simple 1, and believe it or not, if I put a false here, PHP likes to print that out as just nothing at all. So even if I go to view page source, I see nothing here because PHP doesn't print anything out. So we can use these true and false values, which are called Boolean values, to talk about logical operators. So I'm going to tell you about the 5 logical operators. Logical operators are just like your regular arithmetic operators like plus, minus, multiply, divide, except they work on Boolean values instead of integers. So the easiest one is the not operator, and that's just a bang or an exclamation point. And so if you put a bang in front of a Boolean value, it just flips it to the opposite value. So bang false becomes true. So if we echo that out, we just get a 1. The next logical operator works on 2 Boolean values, and that's called the AND. So false and true. And I'm going to show you what this does. This and will evaluate to a true as long as both sides are true. Of course, both sides are not true, so it's going to evaluate to a false. If I put this as true, of course, you'll see that I get a 1 there. Now the next one is OR, which is a double pipe. That's shift and your backslash on the American keyboard. And this says as long as one of them is true, then we're going to print out true or evaluate to true. So this says echo and then whatever false or true is. So let's do that. And we still get a 1 because at least one of them was true. Now there's double equal. The double equals just says as long as both of them are the same, then the result is going to be true. Of course, these are both different, so the result is false. And if we were to make them both the same, false equal false, we get true. Now the last one is the opposite of double equal, and it's called exclusive OR. But it just means as long as they're both different, then we're going to return true. So I'm going to do this, and of course these are both different, so I'm going to get a result of a 1 again. And so that's all of the logical operators we have, and we're ready to move on to letters in the next lesson.